Hi, I'm Christy. I'm Amy's mom. I want to raise awareness about the disease that killed her. She died a year ago right now, undiagnosed. Amy was born on time. She reached all of her milestones. She was amazing. She played soccer, baseball, and she was on the swim team. She was playing piano. She had baseball. She was my little athlete. She was in constant motion. She had epilepsy and she would regress with the seizures. They thought at first that she might have autism, but it turned out that it was a form of dementia brought on about by the disease. But Amy's disease is rare and it's seen in grown-ups. It's not seen in children very often. And it's a repeat of your DNA. It's not just a gene, it's a repeat. It's like Huntington's disease. In her disease, you can't be diagnosed except by a couple of clinics here in the United States, labs that test. But if you don't have a diagnosis, then there can be no hope of a treatment. There can be no line to stand in for a cure. If you don't have a diagnosis, it's a death sentence. We went to Texas Children's. We went and had whole exome done at Baylor College of Medicine. We had the microarray testing done early on. We had MT and nuclear DNA. We had whole genome done at the Undiagnosed Disease Network in Bethesda, Maryland. We had everything tested and there was no genetic finding. Everything was normal. There was a finding for Batten's disease, but it was an unknown finding and turned out that that was not our diagnosis. But when you're undiagnosed, there's no families to connect with that are going through what you're going through. You are alone and you have no one and you're watching your child fade. What we had was the MRIs were changing. They went from normal to atrophy of the cerebellum to global brain volume loss. But anyway, her first diagnosis was intractable epilepsy with a slow and spike wave complex. It's called Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. It's a progressive epileptic syndrome. And she fit. But Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, generally you don't die. And you don't get like Amy, your brain doesn't die. It's a tragic and horrific disease in itself. So anyway, after years of searching for a diagnosis, we put a man on the moon 50 years ago. Come on, people, we put a man on the moon 50 years ago, and we can't find a cure for a little kid. We can't even find a diagnosis. And the thing is, with spinocerebellar ataxia, 60% of the people don't ever have a genetic finding, and it's an older person's disease, a grown-up's disease. And it's like ALS, or the people don't even know about it. It's like, it's a souped-up form of Parkinson's disease, and it just doesn't happen to children. But it happened to my child. My child got this, and she died, and it was hereditary. And my mom, and even me, I'm lucky. The older you are that you get diagnosed, the slower you progress. With Amy, she was just a little girl. Little, 9, 10, 11. But how we got diagnosed is with BrainNet at Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital. The top neuropathologists autopsied Amy and found severe cerebellar degenerative disease, severe loss of the Purkinje cells in the brain. And that's how we got diagnosed. So if you have a child who has an MRI that's changing, showing degeneration, and they have intractable epilepsy, or they're ataxic and they're falling, they're losing skills, talk to your doctor about this disease. It's not supposed to happen to children, but it killed my little girl. No parent should bury their child. People tell me to get over it. She's gone. You don't get over burying your child. You don't get over your child dying in your arms. You just learn to live. It's a whole. It's a whole because our children are our hope. They're our future. They're not supposed to die. And for Amy, she wanted to live. She fought so hard. She didn't want to die. And she died of a disease that happens to old people, not little kids. 54 hours of seizing in my arms. No drug could stop it. All drugs failed her. And I buried her. Until you bury a child, you just don't know. We need a treatment. We need a cure. It's 2019. They put a man on the moon. I mean, they got cancer. You got surgeries and chemo. You got at least some semblance of a chance. But with this, there was no chance. There was nothing anybody could do. They couldn't even diagnose her. And we went everywhere. Imagine if we didn't have the funds to do what we did. We fought. We had the capabilities to fight. Thank you for listening. And please share. Spinocerebellar ataxia does happen to children. And without a diagnosis, there can't be any hope.